Esad Ribic, and you're listening Across the Bifrost.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode, we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. On today's episode, we are digging back into the Immortal Thor series, the Al Ewing written, Martin Coccolo drawn, and Joe Sabino lettered, Matt Wilson colored, Will Moss edited Immortal Thor run that started just a few months ago. We are so excited to dig back into this. We left Thor in a bit of a situation, so we got to figure out what's happening with him.
He's in an entanglement, to quote the
he's
Will
in the
Smith
Gordian
meme,
the Gordian knot. But riding shotgun with me today is Warriors 3 member and wannabe Warriors She member. Fats is back.
Oh, you're saying because I wish I was on the episode. Yeah.
You would have loved to hang out with Haley and Kim. So
I was trying to figure out if that was like a Loki reference, being able to like switch genders back and forth, or if it was just because Haley and Kim are the best. Because if it's the second thing, I'm in.
Yeah. It's I definitely intended it as the second thing.
Okay.
But yeah, we're back for Immortal Thor, man. How are we feeling about number 3? Before we give like our breakdown of the issue and all that, how are we feeling about this run so far going into number 3?
I love where we're going with it. Like this one is a slower paced book, a more thinking issue, and it's so nice to still get so much lore and so much beautiful art and so much of a great story going when it's not just I hit thing with hammer really hard. And like you need issues like this, because if it's just Thor hitting things progressively harder for 50 issues, we're going to go insane by about issue 11. And instead you see him you see him thinking, you see him smiling, you see Loki back to kind of their classic trickstery vibes, and it's nice. It's really nice to see Thor handled this way, like somebody who is obsessed with previous Thor comics and with Norse mythology and is trying to get you as much of that as possible. Just I like seeing Al cook.
Yeah, no, I do feel like at some point there will be a video that we put up, or it'll become just like a running joke, like, oh man, Al Ewing, let him cook. Let him cook.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, frequent listeners to the podcast will not be shocked by what I'm about to say, but like Martin Coccolo, let him cook.
Yeah.
Like,
turns out this Martin guy's pretty fucking good at art, eh?
Yeah. No, it's he was last year at this time when we had just, we were still coming off a Banner of War and, unsure about where things were gonna land with Thor. It's like, hey, this Martin guy might be the best kept secret in Marvel Comics, and we, of course, believe that to be so. But this issue, I think it hit on something Faz alluded to there. It let us see Martin do different things with his art style. We got a lot of good character shots of Thor, different
full
expressions.
Beard at one point, which was fun. Yeah.
Gave him a full Santa Claus beard. Like it was so good to see different variations of the Thor character and really zero in on expressions, different postures that he puts him in, the thinking, being angry, being confused, all this kind of stuff, just to kind of play in that play box and in that toy box for a little bit. And of course, with artwork in a Marvel comic, so much of it is the pencils that are being laid down. But I also feel like Matt Wilson got to shine here because his colors were really vibrant. And Matt's always been really good at that. Like, that's not a surprising thing for people that have read Thor comics over the last, decade. But we got a lot of oranges, a lot of cool blues and purples. There was a big storm at one point. And then one of the main panels that I want to talk about is a full page Loki panel that was very yellow and green, obviously because of Loki, but very imposing, and colors were used in really good shades and variants there. So lots of really good artwork, lots of really good writing being laid down in this issue. So Faz, what do you say we jump into kind of the overarching story and then zero in on a few of our favorite parts?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great plan, Ryan, because there's one really funny thing I want to talk about. We probably have to reveal some stuff before we get there. So let's do it.
And by the way, we usually don't say this for new issues, but this is a spoilery issue because of a last page reveal that we get, but also some just story elements that we have to talk about. So if you haven't read this yet and you really want to remain spoiler free, go read this first and then listen to our review. That'll be more helpful for you as a reader, and you'll just be able to enjoy it more that way. So at the end of last issue, Loki showed up and was gave Thor a bit of a question, like, do you trust me? Do you trust me as all these different things? And the last thing was, do you trust me as a villain? So we're like, okay, that's interesting, because we really haven't seen a more villainous Loki in a long time, an overtly, antagonistic Loki in a long time. So we find out that Loki has transported Thor to this alien world where Thor is going to undergo a test. And Loki does this by the power of the rune staff that we've seen little glimpses and pieces of so far. Loki says that Thor has to pass a test and that flying away isn't going to solve it. Scorching the alien planet's Earth, with a thunderstorm is not going to solve it. He can't muscle his way out of this. Mm-hmm. He has to pass the test by actually engaging with the test. This is not some Star Trek Kobayashi Maru situation where he can just rig the game against itself.
And it actually gives us one of the coolest panels about it. The fact that he tries to just hit it with a hammer like he usually does and raises the fucking moon or planet to the ground. And some Martin, when we were talking to him about this issue, said, yeah, I feel like there wasn't that much action this time. And I just sent him back this page. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? This is action-packed. What a shot,
I do love that after Thor does have this moment of power, this show of strength, he does think to himself in a thought balloon. He thinks to himself, well done, Thor, well done, thou hero of gods and mortals. Thou hast fought a most courageous battle indeed against a garden of flowers. So I love that line because he has this sad boy look on his face while he's doing that. It's like, okay, I've got to rethink this. Apparently Loki says, that apparently Thor has all the things he needs to pass this test. So then Thor, he uses Mjolnir to beat down his helmet and create a new weapon. An axe, very reminiscent of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Stormbreaker, that is called Tormod. Tormod, the riddle solver, the first of three. But would you know, we will talk about that at another point. So he creates Tormod and shaves off this Santa Claus beard that he's grown.
And also, I love that the judge of whether or not it's a good blade is, can it cut my beard? Can it properly shave me? Because if it properly shaves me, then I've done a good job. And I like the because Mjolnir is Mjolnir and because Thor is Thor, this is a new power for him, I think, one of the best blacksmiths in the history of the universe.
Oh yeah, of course he's a master blacksmith. Of course, why not?
He can wield Mjolnir more expertly than any smith who lived. So that's how he can do this, because of he's now fully powered. He is probably the god of hammers now, since he beat the shit out of it in the Donny Cates run. Let's go.
He beat the shit out of it. And Loki goes through a series of how do you say this? Thor thinks that he's solved the problem. And at every turn, Loki says, no, it's not that easy. Nope, it's not that easy. Thor, again, tries to use force to throw Mjolnir through Loki's face, and Loki turns into a group of butterflies. And it's like, no, that's
a murder of butterflies.
A crash of butterflies. Thor tries to destroy the rune staff, and Loki just grows the rune staff back. Like, these shows of force are not working. And I think maybe that is, as we're talking about this, Faz, I'm kind of realizing maybe that's one of the themes of this issue, that Thor's regular mode of figuring problems out is usually force. I've got to, like,
Yeah.
what can I hit? What can I
I
destroy?
have to
What can
hit
I
it
do?
harder than I've ever hit before, Goku style.
Yeah.
Like I've just got to get a little bit
Yep.
stronger and unlock a new power.
Yeah, I've got to go Super Saiyan on this problem.
Yeah.
And Loki is changing the circumstances that Thor is having to deal with every single time. He destroys the rune staff, Loki grows it back. Thor thinks, well, if I have everything I need, maybe I just need a rune staff to get me out of here. If Loki can go everywhere with the rune staff, maybe I can too. So Thor uses Tormod, this brand new axe, to carve a rune staff, and Loki basically comes back with I will say a pretty strong take. I'll just go ahead and read this one, and then we'll kind of charge to the finish and give our thoughts. Loki appears before Thor as this giant, almost I honestly, as I think of Jafar at the end of Aladdin.
Yeah. That's
Like,
exactly what it's like. Yeah.
yeah. Loki says, "You thought whittling a stick would solve my riddle. Fool that you are, you have failed, Thunderer, and now you must die. And yet, magnanimous as I am, I offer you one last chance to survive my wrath. Bestow upon me the throne of Asgard. Give to me the role of all fathers. Swear that you will serve me all the days of thine immortal life, and Loki, the fiendish god of evil, will let you live." To which Thor says, that's not what you actually want. You're lying.
Yeah.
And that is how Thor breaks this test. He basically says, no, the real Loki wouldn't want that.
I also
The
like
real
the
Loki,
giant Loki who's like rolling their eyes like, damn it, he saw
yes,
through me
yes,
during that. Yeah.
right. So then Thor does use his rune staff and says Raidho, which is the rune that has created the journeying powers for the rune staff. Raidho, rune of journeys, take me home. And then Thor is back on the moon with Loki. And Loki basically explains that Thor needed this weapon. He needed Tormod to defeat Tyrannos. But he doesn't just need that weapon. Thor puts it together that he's going to need others on this journey that have necessary experience, he says. And that the first person he has to go after, here's our big last page reveal. It's one of the reasons why I love comics, the last page reveal. He says, I must go speak to the goddess of thunder alone. And it's Storm. I mean, Faz, it was an incredible last page reveal.
It was an incredible last page reveal. And listeners, you should know that Will Rose said some unspeakable things of excitement.
Yes.
Like if anybody's been changed from Theology Beer Camp, it is Will.
It is William Rose.
I still am not sure if I'm going to repeat it. I'm not sure if I'm going to repeat it. That's how you know.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't. That should be they have to reach out to us to know
to hear
thing.
what it is. Yeah. I'll tell you what, guys, jump to whatever we call Listener Prime on November 1st on Patreon, and then you can shoot me a message directly and say, what did Will say? And then you'll know.
Did Will say? But yeah, like Storm shows up at the end, and we know that Thor is going to go speak with Storm to presumably combined forces to take on Tyrannos, and Tyrannos being the elder god of the storm. It feels appropriate that Storm would show up and help. Now, because it's a Marvel comic, I highly doubt it's going to go that easily. Mm-hmm. And we'll probably get a Thor Storm fight for at least like half an issue, which if that happens, I cannot wait to see how Martin would make that come to life.
I wonder if it will be a fight, because like what would be the premise for why they're fighting? Are they not on speaking terms right now? Like I don't know.
Storm hasn't been in a Thor book, and
that's what I mean. It's been so long that like presumably they're old friends, and maybe they'll come together just in time for like Tyrannos to show up again. Maybe that's the big fight. Right. They don't fight each other. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, and they do hint that Loki is not exactly welcome in the
Mhm.
presence of Storm. So maybe that is the thing of like Thor chooses to trust Loki, but Storm refuses
Maybe.
to.
And if you're
Maybe.
working with Loki, then you're my enemy or something, and they go from there. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. But
So cool.
yeah, Faz, what are some thoughts that we have about this kind of,
So
like you said, slower issue, but really we learn some important things for the journey ahead.
so one detail that I really like is that Thor goes in the Odin sleep, obviously, right? And the Odin sleep can take him out for months. And if Thor was gone for 2 months, Tyrannos is probably destroying the Earth, probably destroying
Right.
everything. And one of the things that Thor says at the end is, wow, because of this, I went through the all sleep. I fully recovered. I'm back to myself. And no time has passed.
Yeah.
So not only did Loki's evil trick stuff result in Tormod, who looks like MCU Mjolnir crossed with the Ultimates Mjolnir and looks friggin' sick,
Yeah.
but also he was able to do the whole Odin sleep without missing a bunch of time, so he can get right back at it without the world being ruined.
Yeah.
So for anybody confused about Loki's role here, Al did talk about how Loki's going back to classic stuff, and we talked about this in the Patreon a bit. Loki is a trickster again, but Loki is keeping the character development they've had. So Loki is doing trickster things. Loki could have done this in a very direct way, but didn't. Instead, Loki's creating a hyperbolic time chamber for Goku to live 1,000 lives and rebuild himself and retrain, and also teach him how to smith an axe. And then he's coming back like no time has passed to fight on
There's
Cell or Frieza or whoever it is. Yeah.
multiple Dragon Ball Z references.
But look, you guys know this
It's
from
so true.
from all the way back at when Love and Thunder came out. Thor in my mind is Goku. And we're getting there. We're getting the references here. He's getting back to full power. When he fought Toronos the first time, he's only at like half power because he burned a bunch of energy on reforging Mjolnir and doing other
Right.
Allfather things. Now he's back to his best. He's got a second weapon, and it says the first of three. My theory is that the Thor core is all going to get to wield one of the weapons. Like maybe
That
Storm
would
gets
be
Tormod,
freaking incredible.
right? Like it makes sense, right? Maybe Storm gets Tormod, or maybe Jane Foster, who will become like a Thor again instead of a Valkyrie, will wield it, like something like that, right? In order to
Right.
make it work. And
Because is that the cover? Is that the cover of
it's
like
one of
issue
them.
5
Yeah,
or
something like that.
6?
Let me look.
Where, yeah, can you pull up that cover? Because I feel like that gives us a clue.
Yeah, so Thor's got Mjolnir. Storm's got a hammer, but it doesn't look like Tormod.
It could be Stormcaster, which is Stormcaster is Storm's hammer from way back when.
Does it look
When
like Mjolnir with a triangle on the side of it?
Yes, that's
Yeah. Yeah,
Stormcaster.
so that's Stormcaster. Beta Ray Bill has Stormbreaker. Jane has her Mjolnir, like the regular one. Loki does too in it. So I guess there's no real clues about who would have Tormod in this scenario.
Okay. Okay.
But they've all got
What
hammers, so in theory, if there's four of them and it's the first of three, then
that is that is quite a Thor core right there.
yeah.
Like those are all god level people. Now, real quick question for you, Faz. Of that group of 5 that we presume we're getting in a few issues,
Mhm.
who is the weakest member?
Loki. I think Loki's the
It's
weakest member.
Loki?
So I think Loki is kind of like the way in terms of strength, like raw power, all the thunder gods are going to be stronger than Loki, I think. But I
Okay.
think Loki's going to fill a role as like the magic user, the one who maybe heals them or gets them in positions that they can then hit with a hammer. Because I don't
He's
think,
playing support.
yeah, he's the support. Because I imagine like he's the medic or he's like the commander, like so on and so forth. I just imagine that all of them aiming at Tyrannos with lightning, Tyrannos will, just like they said to Thor, I mean, that was fun. That tickled. That was nice. They need to do more than just lightning him really hard, and I think that Loki will be
Yeah.
there to help them do that.
So I like where your brain's at with that one. I was gonna say Beta Ray Bill, only because he's presumably the only one that does not have god level power.
Yeah, I can see that, but he fights Thor to a draw all the time, depending on who's writing it, right? Like, unless if it's Donnie when Thor's all angry. And I think
I,
like
just saying.
may,
I do
maybe,
think though, like Thor, to me, Thor and Storm are like tippy top.
yeah,
Then Jane is like mid-range, but she's still powerful.
Yeah.
And like Loki is kind of mid-range. I guess they're all incredible. But um it'll be interesting to see how Al uses the team to defeat Tyrannos, and we'll find out that in a few months.
I'm really interested because like Thor with the Odin Force shouldn't really need any of these people to even reach his power, right? Like the amount of power that he has right now, can Storm even match that anymore? Thor with the Odin Force and fully unlocked lightning powers? Like maybe he's gonna share his Thor force amongst the five of them, and that's maybe how
Yeah,
Loki can lift a Mjolnir or something. And
yeah,
and then they'll all be empowered, and it'll make more sense because five of us at 30% power is better than me at 100% power or something like that. Like there's
yeah,
so many ways
maybe,
they can
yeah.
go with it. Yeah. Or
So
maybe I'm just miscalculating and Storm has gone through her own arc of becoming way
yeah,
too
like here's
overpowered
the
and will
thing.
be able to dominate
This
too.
is
Yeah.
two people who do not regularly consume a lot of X-Men content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we I don't really know where Storm is at right now. I know after the Hellfire Gala, like at Krakoa and Araco, like they're like splintered, but I don't really know how the fallout is going. Really the only Fall of X book that I'm reading is Realm of X, and Storm is not really involved in that book. So yeah, so TBD on that, and how Storm will factor into this. I'm very excited to see her though. Like
Yeah.
Storm is my favorite X-Men, which maybe sounds like a contradiction because I'm not reading X-Men right now.
Ryan has a
But
thing for thundery people, everybody, in case you're wondering.
I
Yeah.
I do. I do. So Faz, any other thoughts from issue 3 of Immortal Thor, and maybe some like, I don't know, things that listeners can be looking out for? We kind of speculated forward, but maybe some
Yeah,
favorite
so
parts.
some favorite parts for me is firstly I have to do my weekly shout out for Martine and his insane art because I did not think I was gonna like the classic suit when they announced they were coming back to it, and the spin that Martine's put on it where it looks classic but looks somehow refreshed and new and modern is just incredible every time we see it. I really like similarly the costume for Loki as I don't remember what they called themselves in the last one, but the teller of tales or whatever when they look like this.
I
It's
saw
a very
the Talesmith.
Talesmith, yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yeah, and
Yeah,
like with the cool spinning horns and the rune staff and stuff, like just so many individual panels that if I ever do a classic Thor costume, I'm gonna need to recreate because they're insane. And there's like 40 of them in this 20 page comic. Like that's
yeah.
insane. The amount of splash page, like even just Thor going like this, listeners who can't see, I'm raising the hand out
Mhm.
as if pulling Mjolnir back to you directly towards the camera, right? Like it's just so many cool shots. Martine just fucking kills it. And he references other stuff we were talking about, ultimate style Thor angles on certain things and MCU Stormbreaker stuff that it looks like too. Like it's just so good. And I like what they're doing with Loki, that they're like good but not. I like that we're building towards something huge, but we're still at, like, listeners, remember, for all the Utgard Loki and other stuff that's coming, we're only talking about Tornos still. We're at like the
Yeah,
first bar. Like if you remember that conversation with Gaia in book one, it was like he starts here and it's going to increasingly go up from there basically, and hopefully he can do it. And right now our man can't even scratch the first bar as he's
yeah,
fully all powered up.
yeah.
This is going to be cool.
I
What about
agree.
you, Ryan? What do you think?
It also it kind of reminds me of, if anyone else out there is reading the Jed McKay Avengers,
Mm,
it is similar in the way that we have stakes presented to us from day one. Like our heroes are going to go through a gauntlet, and the gauntlet is going to get increasingly more difficult. In the Avengers book, they are I believe they are termination events, or annihilation events. It's
yeah,
some kind of like structure where they're going to go through these different challenges. Faz is right. Thor's going to go through these challenges, and we're gonna see Utgard Loki, or Utgard Thor, whatever the Utgard like realm is and how we figure that
The
out.
ones who sit above in shadow, 100%. There's no way else not calling them
Ooh.
Eventually we're getting them that name. I'm feeling
Interesting.
it. I can feel it.
That would feel like a
Al.
very Al Ewing thing, though.
Right? Pulling like from the one thing 20 years ago and making it the
Yeah.
entire basis. Like this man, if anybody's gonna do it.
Maybe eventually Thor fights the one above all. Oh my gosh, that'd be
Eventually
incredible.
Thor becomes the one above all, or Loki
Oh
does.
my gosh, you heard it here.
20
that
years
feels
from
like
now,
one of
when
those
Al's
like
finally done on his 2000 issue run of Thor, that's when we're gonna be like, aha, I called it.
I don't think the math works out there if he does an issue of, and never mind, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
One thing I really enjoyed about this, Faz already hit on the artwork. I think this issue hit on something very important, that a lot of comics that I read, I engage with them because of how they make me feel. Not like I'm not a deep lore, aficionado. I'm not a continuity boss, where I'm not a rules lawyer with that kind of stuff. But another comic book writer, Josh Chiorio, which I apologize if I did not pronounce that last name right. He is currently doing the Blue Beetle series for DC Comics, and he's kind of the one that made Blue Beetle, like Jaime Reyes, kind of a thing in the modern sense. He gave a talk that I saw him kind of share on his Instagram stories a little while back of how to write for existing IPs. And his main bit of advice that was in the story was write the thing based on how it makes you feel. Like, how does that character make you feel? Do they make you feel hopeful? Do they make you feel determined or sad or strong? How do they make you feel? And I think coming back to Al and how he is writing this and how Martin is drawing this makes me feel like a Thor story. I don't feel sad. I don't feel depressed. I feel like all of the struggles are conquerable. I feel like Thor is he's going to have setbacks, but at the end of the day, he's still worthy. He's still mighty. He's still all those things.
Think back to that first letter that he wrote.
Yeah,
he's a god and needs to have struggles that are worthy of a god, and you like him better when he smiles, right? Like it's going to be dark, but he's not going to be dark. And it just makes you feel hopeful and having a lot of fun the whole way.
Yes. And we're not going to get 30 issues of Sad Boy Thor.
No.
So that is my preferred way of viewing Thor, and I think this comic illustrates that for me. Is he's in this kind of dark night of the soul period with passing Loki's test, but at the end of it he's like, okay, I passed the test, I have Tormod, I have the things I need, now I've learned my lesson that I needed to learn, like Loki intended, and now I can move on. Like we can go forward. Let's go forward. Let's not just stay here in this, recycling of, strong, sad emotions. But that's my favorite how this comic makes me feel. And I'm very excited to see, I'm also just very excited to see Storm in the next issue. It's going to be fantastic. Just in time for Thanksgiving, I believe.
Thanksgiving was more than a month ago, friend.
Just in time for American Thanksgiving. My gosh. We should have one in the middle. It's just like across the Bifrost Friendsgiving or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's nice.
So Faz, we are going to be back. Our coverage of Immortal Thor #4 will be the first issue we do on Across the Bifrost, like covering the new comics, like
in the new era.
In the new era. So
Since
looking
the multiverse has been opened, the paths are
looking for more many paths stuff. By the time most of you are listening to this, we'll be in the process of switching over to Many Paths Official on Instagram. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. It's going to take me a while to get used to stuff on Patreon. You can still sign up for Patreon. Like right now, you can go and support us at the next level. There, we are going to be adding a $2 tier. So if you aren't, that's what you're able to support and you want to support us, that'd be fantastic. We would love that. But you can go do that right now at the link in the episode description. For myself, for Faz, this has been Across the Bifrost. And until we see you next time aboard the Rainbow Bridge, we encourage you to do one thing. That is, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, remember to stay worthy. Ba-da, ba-da-ba. Okay.